From retro to next gen, we've got it all. I'm George, a Gen X grown-up, and this is Bit by Bit. Okay, here's a bit of a head scratcher from notebookcheck.com. This article is talking about the MagicX One 35, which is a new handheld that's apparently being released by the people at MagicX, as you might imagine. It's a 3.5-inch horizontal retro gaming handheld. It's going to come out in these three colors, your black, your blue, and your white. Okay, that's neat. But right here, this part of the article, I don't know, it feels AI to me. The launch of the MagicX 040 is around the corner after experiencing a 10-day delay. However, it seems that the 040 will soon be joined by a smaller horizontal alternative. For the time being, MagicX no longer lists the so-called 135 or 1-35 on its website. So, I don't know what that's talking about, but then it goes into more details that appear to be specifically about the 135. We've got the 3.5-inch display as we talk about. It's got a Nintendo ABXY layout on the joystick buttons. And apparently the reason why we're getting two D-pads is because they think this is going to facilitate Tate gameplay. I had to look that up because I hadn't heard that term before, but I guess Tate is Japanese for vertical. So in other words, I think you're going to be able to turn it on its side and play it vertically. Now, what I think that means is that you're going to use this D-pad down here and these buttons when you're playing vertical format, because I can't imagine doing it on this side. You've got no buttons. They're way up at the top. Anyway, there's a YouTube video here from their website. This is the in-house website of the producer of the console. I might reach out to them and see if I can't get us a review unit at genxgrownup.com just to kind of see what this is about. But yeah, this looks interesting. No pricing listed here, but I'll have the link down in the description. You can go do your own research and see if the MagicX 135 is a real thing and if it's something you want to buy. Okay, here's a quirky bit from yankodesign.com. Somebody has taken an old typewriter, not a word processor, nothing like that, just a regular typewriter, and turned it into a gaming PC. So this is a fun little article, and I love reading these types of stories because this is not going to get mainstream attention. This is not the new Xbox or PS5 or whatever new game is out there. This is just somebody who loves taking old things and repurposing them into something that is fun and useful today. So they start with an old typewriter. They put in a bunch of PC parts. I think up here, yeah, it's an LG A1151 board running a Core i5 6600, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 240 gig SATA SSD. You can see some more details down in here. What they point out is that there's an interesting graphics card in here, the GeForce GT 635. Say it's 12 years old. I have no idea. I don't keep track of that kind of stuff, but that's pretty cool that they got this cool little graphics card in there to handle some retro gaming. But then what gets me is they actually made the typewriter keyboard. Now, remember, this is not a word processor. It didn't have any kind of interface. It was literally just these keys, being hit and then a ball smacking a ribbon onto paper. That's how it was originally designed. They took and added an Arduino to it to make the keys work with the PC. That's just goddamn cool. Now, obviously, this is a love project. This is not like a professional thing that's for sale or anything like that, but it just goes to say, look at him typing up there on the screen with the typewriter. It's just so damn cool for those of us who grew up in the era where you still had to go to typewriter class in high school at some point. Anyway, it's a fun little 5-minute read. yankodesign.com. I'll have the link down in the description. Check it out. This will really make you smile. All right, here's a little bit of interesting news from news.farhas.net. There's a new thing that's been kind of announced called Xbox Classics, and this comes to us because there was a person named EXTAS1X. One S, sorry. And I guess this whole new thing is a new platform aimed at reviving Xbox and Xbox 360 titles, and it's going to release around 2026, which is the 25th anniversary of the Xbox brand. So we've got a couple of takeaways here in this article. You can take a look at those. I'll have the link down in the description. They talk about it's also going to be working seamlessly with the Game Pass, the PC, and even the newer portable devices like the ROG, Xbox Ally X. I get tongue twisted when I'm reading these things sometimes. I apologize for that, but it does raise some interesting questions about how Microsoft is going about this whole thing of everything is an Xbox, and now they're going back to bringing in backwards compatibility on some of these newer systems with these older games with new graphical updates and stuff. It's exciting to me. I loved my Xbox 360, still do to this day, and I can't wait to have another shot to play some of those games on some new hardware in the near future. I hope you'll take a look at this article and see what you think. All right, here's a wholesome little bit from RetroDodo.com. A modder has turned a Fisher-Price toy into a Game Boy emulator using a Raspberry Pi. So Mark Girardi, he apparently does this all the time with a whole bunch of old toys, turning them into retro gaming devices. And this article is a very short one. They talk about how they love the massive D-pad and A and B buttons that you can see here on the screen. There's also some side buttons, volume rockers and whatnot. But you should definitely go watch the video over here on Instagram. You click this little button, it takes you straight over there and you can watch the video. It's nobody talking, it's just him showing the device along with some background music. But it is a really well done device, and I'm telling you, if you are a Gen X parent or grandparent, possibly as we're getting older, this seems like the exact type of device that you would want to use to get your child or grandchild started down the retro gaming path in the right way. So you get regular Game Boy cartridges that fit into this thing, or maybe it's on the little a little SD card or something. I'm not really sure because there's not that much detail in the video, but it's really nice. It's got these cool little slider things that look like Tetris blocks on the side that reveal the volume rocker, and it's got buttons all over the back. It's got charging ports, USB-C, USB-A, all kinds of fun stuff with this little system. But man, this just makes me happy, and I hope it does you too. Okay, here's a useful bit from the people over at howtogeek.com. They want to teach us how to play classic arcade games in our browser, so we don't have to install any emulators, we don't have to try and download any ROMs, we don't have to have an old console that we plug up to a super old CRT. This is a way to just sit down at your computer, fire up Google Chrome, go to a website, and play some arcade games. So I took a look through this before I recorded, and let me tell you, these are accurate. So first off, Internet Arcade. I knew about Internet Archive, and I've used it for a lot of different purposes. What I never thought to look for on it was an Internet Arcade hosting area, which allows you to play some browser games. I did try this Outrun that's in here, and it is fun and playable. Now, it's not going to be the same experience as if you have a stand-up cabinet with the steering wheel that, you know, moves around and everything like the Outrun cabinet did, but it's still a fun way to enjoy a game that you played during the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Free Video Games Project is the next one up on the list. They've got Pac-Man here, we've got Free 80s Arcade, Retro Games, and then finally Arcade Classics. So all of these sites work. I've tested all of them. They're a lot of fun. Some of them have a larger library than others, but really all you need is Chrome. Now, some of them, you might need a browser extension like the Arcade Classics one here, but still, they're a fun thing to do when you're wanting to sit around just really quickly firing up an old classic game without having to deal with all the headache of emulation or anything else. It's a win-win-win. You get to go enjoy something. They get a click on their website. Everybody has a good time. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.